So Juste Debout's back after 5 years, and they were kind enough to have the capsule there to review the event. Of course, I have thoughts, feelings, and opinions. So let's get into it. What's up, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of the Capsule. So where to begin? Juste Debout, the world's biggest dance competition, or at least one of, was last weekend in Paris at the Accor Arena, formerly known as Bercy Arena. A lot of people still refer to it as Bercy. But yeah, that happened. It hadn't happened for 5 years. It was a huge event that happened from, I believe, 2002 all the way to 2020, when COVID shut the event down. We've spoken about it on the pod before. It was cancelled the day before the event in 2020. And then following that, there was 5 years where the traditional format of Juste Debout didn't happen. So they had Juste Debout Gold, they had the Juste Debout Cruise. So they had versions of the event. There was an event that was supposed to happen that got cancelled. So it's not that it went away completely, but there was 5 years where there was no traditional 2-on-2 straight up pop-in battle, pop-in, hip-hop, lock-in, house battles. And yeah, so then they brought it back. So everyone was very excited when they announced that Juste Debout would be back in its traditional format in 2025. I believe they announced it a couple of years ago that it would be coming back when they announced maybe Juste Debout Gold is when I first heard about it, I think, or after Juste Debout Gold. Anyway, so they returned big and strong with the tour. There was less countries than usual, but how it usually happens is that a lot of countries have a qualifier. The winners are qualified to the top 16 in Paris. It's a 2v2 battle. So for the dancers out there, we know how this changes things as opposed to a one-on-one battle. But yeah, a lot of battles have like a concept or a way of making their events stand out. And Juste Debout's has always been that it's a 2v2 battle until those other versions came around where Juste Debout Gold was a one-on-one, etc., etc. But Juste Debout became at one point, I don't know when it hit that point, but it became like kind of the event to win. It was like, especially in Europe, but I would go so far as to say a lot of the world recognized it as the event. If you win Juste Debout, you're kind of like the person for that year that's like the best. It also helps if you go on a run and win some other events. There was I feel like culturally we have a string of events that was like, all right, if you win, and it changes every few years, but like if you win these events within the year, that kind of means you're undisputed, like top one. I guess that's where the Undisputed series comes from in breaking, which is similar. Takes some of the best breaking battles, and if you win all of them, you're in the Undisputed battle. That's another podcast for another day. Anyway, so all that to say, I was there. The capsule was in attendance, and yeah, I got lots of thoughts and things to share with you guys. This is also a somewhat of a, we're going to call it a vlog pod. There will be footage, there will be, I shot a lot on the day, so I haven't edited it because I'm recording this right now, but there will be an edit, there'll be all sorts of footage overlaid and moments. So if you're an audio listener, either you might want to switch over to the YouTube for this one, or on Spotify you can get the video. Or if you just hear random sounds or like music, it might be some rounds, it might be some people talking. Like there'll be some bits in here that are vlog-esque, we'll call it. So yeah, this is a new format we're trying. I think it's going to be super awesome, but please comment, tell me what you think. Also, I know I don't have to tell you this, but please comment and tell me what you think of my opinions. If the Le Twins fans get a hold of this pod, I'll definitely have some comments. But yeah, so let's jump in. So I was not in attendance for the pre-selection day. I just went for the main finals. That's worth saying because the pre-selection day is part of the weekend experience, and there's a whole set of things to talk about with the pre-selection day. But yeah, I was just there for the Sunday. I walked straight off the Eurostar into the metro, out of the metro, into the arena, and began shooting pretty much. I have to shout out Little Shao because he was on the pod last week, and that is when we began to discuss Juste Debout, and that's when he talked to me about coming, and he was in charge of the media team for Juste Debout, and he graciously had me on the team, which was lovely, especially to do something like this podcast is really cool. Usually I've had to shoot pictures or videos, and then also while I was there I kind of had some thoughts and made a pod about it, but this was like I was there primarily for the pod. Also I got a shout out Admir, really dope guy. He runs a podcast also, so definitely you have to check that one out. But he was managing the teams because obviously Shao was working, and yeah, just they were all really professional. The whole media team was great. Admir and Shao are great to work with. I mean, for those that listened to the pod last week, Shao's a really nice person, and he's really funny, and we had a great time. But it's always different when you work with someone, and I think that's, I mean, it might be the same for him with me. You know, he hadn't worked with me before or had me in a professional environment, and when people are under pressure, when people are stressed, when people are working and they have priorities, it's like you see sometimes a different side to people. And it's one experience that I had, and I can't speak for, you know, the entirety of someone's career or whatever, but I had a great time working with everyone on the media team. But Shao is actually really lovely to work with, and that was really cool. He's a beast when it comes to actually getting work done, you know, like that was something I was very interested to see. I guess we'll start there, but like, you know, he's a personality, and from the pod and from seeing him at events, he's a personality. He's obviously, he takes great pictures, but he's fun, and we see him, you know, joking around and stuff. But I've never really focused on watching him work, and seeing him shoot Juste Debout, I was like, sick. Like when he's in work mode, like he's a beast, you know. And seeing him, like I've been not to the level that he's at, but I've been in his position of like having deliverables and things that I need to collect, and like just watching him being calculated and moving from this side to the stage and getting his shot and all that, like I could tell he was like on his job and he was like locked in for the day. But at the same time, you know, he had time to stop and, you know, ask if I wanted to snack, or, you know, make a joke with MT and Nelson, or like, you know, wave hi to someone. Like he's very like balanced. And I know a lot of people that in lower stress situations than being the main shooter at Juste Debout would not be able to be pleasant and get the job done. And he managed to be both. So yeah, massive shout out to him. I can only speak on my experiences with people, and so far he's been absolutely lovely to work with and been really nice to me and helped me out. And also, you know, when I first bought my first camera, Shao was someone who, you know, was already dope. So to get a chance to be on the same media team with him and like work with him and stuff was really, really cool.
Juste Debout is back, man. What the heck, bro? It's back.
And yeah, Admir was great at like managing the event. Also very calm under pressure, chill, looked like he was getting amazing stuff. He showed me a few of his shots and they looked dope. But also, yeah, super chill, super great to be around. Yeah, the stuff that's a lot of the media that's coming out from Juste Debout looks sick. The pictures are fantastic. The videos are great. So yeah, just massive shout out to them also because they were the reason that I was there. And we love that. So there's so much to talk about with Juste Debout. I mean, what's crazy is that in 5 years, for me, that's like a small portion of time. I haven't been around forever, but I've been dancing like 18 years. So for me, Juste Debout was around for the majority of my career. And Juste Debout was one of the big battles when there were not that many big battles for top styles. And maybe I could even go so far as to say when there wasn't almost none battles for top styles, Juste Debout was the one. And you know, I started dancing in 2007 and I watched my friends Lee, Ricochet, who's been on this pod, and Mus, Ferocious was his name because he's Egyptian, Ferocious. I always thought that was a funny name. They showed me Just Debout like DVDs. They had it as a file. I think they transferred it, but it was like on a laptop, and it was like, this is the DVDs from 2006. And there's so many, and this is like what I started not long before YouTube started becoming a thing, and that was Juste Debout was the battles that got shared, like, you know, Salah and Damon. There's so many like legendary battles. When I first saw hip hop was like Nyako and P-Fly, I think, were in the finals, and I spoke to Nyako about that on the pod. But like, yeah, it's just like I can't overstate how big of a thing Juste Debout was for a lot of people. And people that have started within the last 5 years or even before that might not get that, if you know what I mean. They might not understand how big of a deal Juste Debout was to a large amount of people. Like there's a whole generation that was like, Juste Debout was their thing. And now it might be in the last 5 years that like that's Summer Dance for some people, you know, like getting to the finals at Summer Dance might be like their career ambition, you know. But for the longest time, that was Juste Debout. And it held that title and that place in a lot of people's hearts, and especially for France, you know, like, and it's even more so than France, Paris, where it's like, that's our thing. Like we had that with UK B-Boy Champs, with the Top Stylers for a while when they were doing like popping every year, and especially in popping. In the UK B-Boy Champs popping category was like the biggest one to win, probably, because it was like our international qualifier, and you'd have, you know, if you got onto the main stage, which was in the UK, like you get to battle like some of the best poppers you've ever seen, like Salah, Green Tech, Monster Pop. All these people would be there that you only ever saw on YouTube, and now they're in the UK, and one of us is going to qualify to go there. I say us as if I was ever in the running. But yeah, and then when Brooke and Marvel made it past the first round at B-Boy Champs, it was a huge thing because it's like an international level stage and whatever. So yeah, all that to say, like Juste Debout is like a really big deal to a lot of people, and I think that's important for people that don't know that to understand when we talk about Juste Debout, because yeah, it's just it going away and then coming back, it means something to a lot of people. And I mean, even me being there, like, first of all, working with Shao, even to do a pod with Bruce, let alone to be filming at Juste Debout. There's a lot of stuff that's like, wow, this is like some crazy full circle moments that really mean a lot to me personally. So imagine, you know, the thousands of people who were either in the arena, entered prelims, whatever. It's a big thing for a lot of people. And yeah, I think it's a big part of the way we view Juste Debout. And it's also important to know how different generations view each event, if that makes sense. And maybe, you know, this is something we can talk about, but like the effect of going away for 5 years, there's potentially like a new generation who don't know and have to be reintroduced to Juste Debout. And, you know, it's not because our generation or the generation above me hold it in such high regard that they have to, you know. It might be a case that, and I can't speak for them, and I haven't necessarily heard anything negative, but it may be that Juste Debout has to earn back that respect from the younger people, you know, like, or the people that started within the last 5 years. And it might be that they don't know, or they don't have that memory or that association with it yet. And it might be a few years before it kind of culturally with the younger people like regains that thing. I think a lot of the older generation were somewhat happy that it came back. But there might even, you know, it's like with anything, if you stop talking to a friend for for a while, when you come back, you might have to regain some trust. And it might be the same with Juste Debout for some people, you know. It might be like, all right, you've been away for 5 years. Cool, you're back, but like, you know, regain my trust and take that place back in my heart. So yeah, it'd be interesting to hear from you guys in the comments, etc., like what you think. Does Juste Debout hold that space for you? If you've been around, if you're new, does it not? Yeah, give me your thoughts on that. I mean, it is huge. It's definitely the biggest in Europe, I would say. Like, in terms of just the arena, being in the venue is crazy. Like, you know, going into an arena. I remember the first time I ever went was 2010. and I went as a spectator, and you walk in kind of at the top, which is probably done on purpose because it's like, it gives you a crazy feeling. I was talking to Joel about this, like, you know, that feeling of first walking in. And, you know, you walk in and you just see, I think I read somewhere that Accor Arena holds 16,000, but that's always, whenever you see arena seating, it always depends on the format. Every event is different. It says the capacity is 1,600. It might be, you know, 10,000 before, sorry, 16,000. So it might be like 10,000 based on how they do the seating or whatever. Anyway, but you walk in and you see that mass of like people, and also like how far the stage is, and you're like, holy shit, this is a dance battle, like with this many people and in this huge of an arena. And it is crazy inspiring, and it is really like, it's a different experience. Really different experience. As a dancer, I haven't been on the stage, but I've been next to it, and I know what it feels like to be on somewhat decent sized stages just in general, but also more so as a spectator. It changes the experience as a spectator. I was all around at the event, you know, I was by the stage, I was at the back, I was wherever, but I made a point to go and sit up in the stands at the top and also in the middle of everyone, to just feel what they were feeling, especially if I was going to talk about it on the pod. And it is interesting. I think it's easy to say for a lot of dancers that they don't like it as much, right? Because if you're used to being like next to your favorite battler, like 2 rows away, and feeling that energy in a tightly packed room, to then go to be row 47 up at the top and see people like really small, it is different. I don't think it's negative. I think there are positives to it. It just might take some getting used to and some intentionality in why you're going. I think it's more like a concert, you know, in that sense, where the energy doesn't bounce off your chest like it does in a really small event, you know, especially ones like that have that tightly packed feeling, right? In a way, it's a lot more comfortable. If I was going to take my mum and my godmother to a dance event, it would be Juste Debout. Like, that would be the place to go. So I think it's really good. We have somewhat of an issue in the dance scene with like opening out to the wider public. And I think there's a lot of things, and that is a whole other pod in itself, although people that listen to every episode of the Capsule will have heard me rant about that before. But opening the dance out to the wider public, there's a lot of good things that come from that. The more tickets we sell, the more money there is in the scene, the more we can elevate, you know, the production, but also pay the dancers, whatever. There's a million things of, you know, if loads of people are coming, it means sponsors are going to be interested. It's hard to go to Nike and go, oh, I've got 52 people that are going to come and watch a dance battle for 7 hours. Do you want to sponsor it? They're like, what? If I say there's 10,000, they're like, now I'm listening, right? So there is a lot to be said about opening out to a wider public. And one thing is like comfort. So although you're further away from the action and that's not what we're used to, I was chilling. I was like relaxed. I was sitting there comfortable. Like, it was loud, but I could still talk. And not that I was talking to myself, but like, it was like you can still hear someone. So for example, if I was going with my mum and my godmother, I could chat to them about the battles without disturbing the battle. You don't want to be like talking and people are like, shut up, they're fucking dancing. But also you don't want to be, it's so loud that they're like, what? It's like, oh yeah, this guy's really good. What? The guy on the right is really good. What? You know, it's like you could have a chat about what's going on. You could like dissect the battles. You could be like, oh, I thought he won. I thought, well, why? No, because he was this and blah, blah. You know, you could, whatever. And it's like, it's in a way more of a comfortable experience. Some people will find that negative if you're used to one thing, but I think it's not, you might not be the demographic for those seats. There is a lower area, which is like more around the stage, which is a more traditional way of viewing a battle, I guess. You know, you were closer to the stage. Beyond Doubt had a similar thing where, I mean, we talked about that on the pod, but they had like a kind of crowd area and then seats further back, and it's similar. Also Red Bull's Dance Your Style in Mumbai, had similar, they had a little twist on it in the sense that they gave all the dancers their seats on the stage. So that was where the energy kind of came. And then everyone else was basically like sitting in seats. But again, it doesn't necessarily negate the vibe. Like when I was in Mumbai for Dance Your Style, I was hyped and beyond doubt. And now I have to disclaim that I literally probably had the best seat in the house at Beyond Doubt. Not to brag, but I'm pretty cool. No, but I was literally behind the judges in the second. Okay, I could have been one row in front. I was in the second row in the first thing behind the judges at Beyond Doubt. So I had a great view, but I was still further back than the pit and stuff. And I was like in the seated seats, but the vibe was sick. Like I was jumping off my chair, same in Mumbai. I didn't spend that much time at Juste Debout, but I don't think it necessarily negates the vibe element of the seating, right? It's just a different thing. Yeah, and I think it's nice sometimes to view a battle like that. Like, you know, if you're a dancer and you're involved, you're getting up to cypher, you're going to get a drink, you're maybe entering the prelims, whatever. It's like, yeah, we're used to being mobile and being able to kind of walk on stage, go chat to the judges, whatever. But it is nice to just have an arena that is made for viewing comfort, if that makes sense. The thing that is hard, I will say about Juste Debout, in regards to the vibe, is that if we talk about rappers or singers, their whole thing is to work on their live show in order to engage the crowd. So rappers will, you know, practice performing to live crowds. They'll practice like giving the energy to different sides of the stage, to projecting it to the back, like doing crowd engagement stuff. They bring people on stage, blah, 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 blah. Because they realize that when you have a huge arena, you need to engage the audience, because it's easy to be so far back that you don't feel a part of it and you just kind of sit and chill and eat your popcorn and whatever. With Juste Debout, or with battles in general, the issue is that the dancers are very rarely focused on entertaining the audience. Dance Your Style, I'm going to keep comparing because I'm comparing with like that size of event. Dance Your Style fixes that by having the audience vote. So now you have to engage us, which takes us back to the rapper thing. Like, you have to engage the audience so we feel connected. Beyond Doubt had that problem as well at some points. And I think Juste Debout, that's the issue with any battle that's going to be that big, is that the dancers are not focused on us. They're focused on each other and maybe the judges. But for the most part, and in a way that's the way it should be, is that 9 times out of 10, the battlers are facing each other and they're concentrated on their opponent. And that's what a battle is. But now we've taken this thing from, you know, what usually would be at this type of arena or at a concert is people facing the audience, working their asses off to engage the audience. And now you have a whole event where very rarely does anyone even look at the audience, let alone engage them. Now, I will say there are moments when it works. Jimmy Yudat, my friend of the show, Hippo Mag, Yudat, is a fucking genius. I watched him all day. I mean, they won, but even if they hadn't, I would have still said this about him. Jimmy spent the day giving a masterclass in Stagecraft. I don't care if you don't like his dance. I don't care if you love his dance. I like his dance. I think he's dope. But one thing you can't negate is his understanding of stagecraft. He does it when he hosts, and he does it when he dances. He understands from the minute you walk on stage, and we're going to get to this with Dance Your Style because I've got a video coming about how to win Dance Your Style. I've spoken about this before, but how to win Dance Your Style. I'll give you a little formula. Jimmy is a great example of that. And if you were in the arena, you knew that. It's hard on the live stream for it to translate, of course. But from the minute he walked on stage, he engaged the crowd first. That was the first thing he did. He walked up, looked at the crowd, said something, did something, danced a little bit, made a little joke. He said to the crowd, like, we're in this together. then when he was dancing, it was like he's so good at balance. It was like enough for the opponent, enough for the judges, enough for the music, and enough for the crowd. And that is a balance that not everybody gets. They go too heavy on one or the other. Too much to the opponent, but you didn't dance. Too much to the judges, but you didn't battle. Too much battle, but the audience can't see shit, right? So there's always a balance to be struck. And I think whether or not Jimmy had won, because ultimately the judges are the ones that put you through and they shouldn't be biased by the crowd, but whether or not you win or not, or whether or not he won or not, what he did do was bring some of the most engaging moments in the battles. There's a few other people to mention in that category, but yeah, Jimmy did a great job of that. To finish off what I was saying before, I don't know what the answer is for battles being in that huge of an arena. That's a problem for Bruce. But like, or for people that want to take on events of that size. Maybe I'll get there one day, but now it's not something I'm trying to solve necessarily, besides it being pod conversations. But you know, there is a thing that when you grow to bigger and bigger audiences, you're now taking an art form that isn't about engaging an audience primarily and trying to project it out there. So how do you create that? Like I said, Dance Your Style found a way, which is make the audience vote, and then you have to get them on your side. You know, you can't forget about them. But yeah, obviously there's always stuff that's going to get an audience going. Now, when you have this battle aspect, the heated battles are going to get people going. So that's one thing that happened with Diablo and Stala Muerte, which I can't say. Stala Muerte. How do you say it? Stala Muerte. Stala. Sorry, I can't pronounce that, man. I'm not good. I'm struggling with French, let alone Spanish. Is that Spanish? Who knows? Sophie's useless. Sophie's in the building, guys. Go follow with Soph. Underscore with Soph. With Soph underscore. Doesn't matter. Why have you got an underscore in your name? It's fine. Stala, Diablo, Genesis. Fucking dope, guys. Really like them. Le Twins. Undisputed. Most popular battlers ever, we could say. I don't know. They're up there. And they know big stages. They've won Juste Debout. They've performed all over the world. And they are having a rematch. So they battled, I don't know what year it was. I can't remember. Someone comment if you know. They battled and Stala and Diablo won. So there was the rematch. Now, the way Juste Debout does the brackets. So for people that aren't familiar with battles, you have obviously like the World Cup. You have two people battle two people, etc., for the top 16. Then the winners move up the bracket until you're left with two. The way they decide who's against who in the beginning is like a name in a hat type of situation, right? Some people, a traditional way is to do it like seeding. So when people do prelims, you see how strong they were in their prelims, and then you kind of split up the strongest people, and you have maybe a top 8 and a secondary 8, and then they battle each other and you spread it out like that. So you kind of create a fair battle as much as you can. Also, I've known people to just randomly put names in, which drives me up the wall. But if it's an intentional thing of like, oh, you're doing a name from a hat to in a way ensure fairness, there's no bias. There's just, I'm just taking out names, and whoever gets whoever battles each other. So in the first round of the top 16, this rematch happened. The Twins against Stala and Diablo. It was very heated. The thing is with Juste Debout as well, it's only one round per dancer till the finals. Then it's 2 rounds per dancer. So it's not a lot of time for stuff to build. So it's like a flash. It's like a fire, it's it happens and then it's done, like quick. It can't build too much, which is good and bad in different ways. Yeah, I thought it was really dope. Le Twins did not seem pleased with the result. But then is anyone pleased with not winning? I don't know. They seemed like they disagreed. I think, here are my thoughts. I think it was close. would have probably given it to Stala and Diablo as well. But I could see it's often like this with close battles. It's like even with the most criterias in the world and such, it's like if it's a really close battle, it's like, all right, I gave it to them based on these things, and here's my reasoning. If you gave it to Le Twins based on good reasonings, I could see the case that could be made for them winning. I make the case for Stala and Diablo, but it wasn't a blowout. Let's say it like that. I just think they won. You know, a lot of they were super happy. I don't know what is the behind the scenes story. If you have speculation, feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't know what the behind the scenes story is, but they seemed it was like a real battle. It was a real rivalry. It didn't feel like a friendly competition. They were also, Genesis had their backing, like all their guys were there. I saw Tele X. I think some of the other Genesis guys were there. But yeah, it was dope. I really enjoyed that battle. The crowd really enjoyed it, which was the point I was making initially. Some good rounds, but it's just nice when there's like a heated exchange, I think. I think, so this is also the thing with people. I mean, look, okay, let's talk about judging. The judges are going to judge. What a redundant statement. I use that clip for the fucking promo. Judges are going to judge. Nice insight, Luke. What I mean by that is like they have their thing. They get paid to judge and do their job. Now, I actually think, I was going to say when I first was thinking about this topic, I was going to say I hate fucking people online and YouTube commenters like, no, the Twins won. No, they didn't win. This should have won. Blah, 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 blah. And I was going to say I hate that because you're not a fucking judge. Some of you aren't even dancers and you're saying, oh, how could they lose? Blah, blah. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. However, I actually think upon further reflection, contrary to popular belief, I do reflect on things that I say. I think it's a good thing because the more engaged the wider audience is, the better. We get used to the dance world having only dancers in it. And so then when somebody from outside of the dance scene who isn't a dancer, who isn't really connected, says something, whether that's online or not, we're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here. But if you think about anything else successful, the NBA, the UFC, there's boxing. There's always debate online, always, without fail. Oh, this guy shouldn't have won. That was a robbery. This was blah, blah. But that's what engages people to watch, the online conversation. The Capsule is kind of that. Like, it just so happens that I'm a dancer and I'm connected to these people. But the whole thing is that probably a lot of you at home are either not as connected as maybe some of the people on the stage. Maybe you're not even as connected as I am. Maybe some of you are, but I think a lot of people use this podcast because they aren't connected with that. And this is a way of hearing the debate, hearing the thoughts and questions and letting me take the heat for them. Thanks, guys. But you know what I mean? I think a lot of stuff is built like that. So like the NBA has its now podcast, but also like its, I don't know what they're called, pundits maybe, but like people that will like discuss, like, oh, this guy was whack and this guy, he should have been scoring more baskets than he was, whatever. And then that fuels people on Twitter to be like, Steph Curry sucks. Have you ever got off your sofa and trained? No. But that's what sells the NBA. People want to watch it because they're like, Steph Curry sucks. I could do better, whatever. So they turn on the TV, and then more people turn on the TV, more money there is, the more these people can get paid. So we actually need the trolls, is what I'm saying. We need people who are out there going, the Twins didn't lose. This is bullshit. Even if they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm not saying if you thought the Twins won, you don't know what you're talking about. But there are some people who thought that and don't know what they're talking about because they're just some guy who knows the Twins, but they don't know dance, right? And it might be the opposite. There might be people that thought Diablo and Stala won and don't know what they're talking about either. But those conversations, those debates are necessary. And I think actually it would be interesting to think of more ways that we can stir that online discourse. I mean, that's part of what we do here at the Capsule HQ, is to stir up conversation for better or for worse. And I think it creates more interest. It's storytelling. It's engagement of the fans. So I think stuff like that battle, the Stala and Diablo against the twins is it's an example of what makes battles so interesting. And we know who the twins are. We know Diablo and Stala, but we need more hype or explanation of why this battle matters and why it's not just for random dancers on a stage. But yeah, anyway, it was a good battle. They were hyped. Like Stalcy was like Stala, sorry, his old name was Stalcy, my bad, bro. Stala was he was like, they were like, yeah, 2, like we beat you twice. When he came on this, they were hyped. All the Genesis guys were hyped. The twins didn't look super happy walking off stage. They gestured as if they were gestured as if they were not pleased with the result. But again, most people aren't pleased with losing, so it's normal, I guess. But yeah, really hype battle. What else in terms of the exciting battles? I mean, listen, MT Pop and Nelson. Yo, we were talking about this off the pod, but what's crazy is they did the prelims. I flicked through, because they did a live stream of the prelim day, and I flicked through I just scrubbed through the YouTube thing, and you know, I was like, oh, who do I know that's there or who's good? And I saw MT Pop and Nelson. I sent a screenshot to my friends. And then not too long after that, the clip of them in the prelims came out, and everyone was like sharing it, and they were like, oh, the Avengers, oh, who's going to beat them? Oh, I mean, I shared it. But it's crazy because when you're a beginner dancer, it's your first time entering a prelim or whatever, you think you've got pressure on you. You think everyone's going to look at you and say, oh, look at this newbie, we're all experienced, and look at them, and blah, 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 and focus on them. But in reality, we're not focusing on the people in the prelims it was their first prelim at Juste Debout. The entire ecosystem of dance, or let's say at least popping, but probably wider, was going, MT Pop and Nelson are going to win. That's a lot of fucking pressure. And if you are a beginner, we don't even think about you. You just enter. And it's like, I think it's Manny that said this. He's been on the pod also, Emmanuel. But Manny said it's like he described it really well, and I forgot how he said it. But it was like, it's the invisibility of being a beginner, basically. It's the like, it's like a blessing. It's like you're actually invisible, even though you feel like we're all looking at you. Nobody cares what you do. So enjoy that, because when you become MT Pop and Nelson, you can't take a shit without everybody sharing it on Insta and going, you're going to win. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, MT Pop at a fucking after party, everyone's probably got their phones out. He can't do one cypher round. And if he has a bad day, it's like, oh, is MT Pop not as good as he used to be? Whatever. It's like, that's pressure. I'm sure they're used to it and that's part of the job. But still, from the minute they entered that prelim, everyone was like, they're going to win. They did. But if they hadn't, it would have been okay also. Yeah, they did win. They did really well. That was a really cool pairing to see. I think it really worked well. A lot of people go for partners that, you know, they're on the same vibe, which I very much get. But I was always a advocate of like a partner that balances you out and does very different things to you, because then you're kind of unbeatable, because it's like, all right, you do that better than me and you do that better than me, but I can't, where's the weak spot, you know? And I think MT and Nelson are contrasting in the best ways possible, you know? It's like they have what each other doesn't have, and they don't have what the other one does have, you know? And I think it's really nice as a pairing. I also, I like I like just the Avengers type of thing, you know, of like, all right, you're dope, I'm dope. I don't know how close friends they are or whatever, but, you know, having that thing is like sick, just to be like, you're one of the best, I'm one of the best, let's fucking take people out, you know? It reminds me of the quote that everyone shares on Insta that is like, competition only happens at the bottom, like at the top everyone's collaborating, and it's like MT Pop and it's like they could hate each other, they could be cussing each other out, but they were like, how about we just win some money together? And that was the same as like Nelson and Majid at Beyond Doubt. It's like, yo, you're dope, it doesn't matter that you're from Germany and I'm from Paris, let's just fucking smoke some people, you know? I think that's dope. So yeah, they were really exciting to watch. Also, congratulations MT on being a Red Bull Dance signed dancer. probably the most obvious reveal that has ever happened in the entire world. Red Bull were like, guess who the next dancer is that we're signing? And it's like, if it's not MT Pop, like, who is it? You know, it's like, unless it's like Jesus Christ himself, I don't see someone more suited to be a Red Bull dancer. I mean, obviously I'm saying that like I'm somewhat in the know, like for the average fan, maybe they weren't thinking of it, but he absolutely decimated the stage at Dance Your Style in Mumbai, and he's just been on a killing spree. So yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Also, he's a very, like, I think Red Bull, they do go for good dancers. It's good, solid. All of them are like legit good, solid. But there's some type of like it factor in a way, or like something that you have to have, that like you're not just a good technical dancer. Because also when you're them, when you're Red Bull, a Red Bull signed dancer, I assume, this is not inside info at all, but I assume you're not just doing battles for them. You're probably doing, there's probably their pool of dancers that they can call on for like corporate gigs and other stuff like that. I would imagine. If they're not, then I feel like that would be missing a trick. I'm sure they're using them for other stuff. And you need performers, you know, it's like having, you know, Diablo, having MT Pop, having whoever else, Majid, especially in top styles. Breakers are already, even the least crowd pleasery breaker can spin on their head, and I'm like, all right, I'm in. But like with a top style dancer, it's easy to like just get lost in the weeds. So yeah, having people that can perform and shit is vital. So yeah, MC Pop is a very, I mean, it's a smart choice from Red Bull. Like, of course you want to sign him. But yeah, congrats to him, because that's also dope. He's not that old. I think he's quite a bit younger than me. So yeah, it's cool to get an achievement like that. And also, don't think just because someone's so good that stuff doesn't mean anything to them, if you know what I mean. Like, he's probably gassed at himself of like, look how far I've come. I'm some kid from Vietnam who just wanted to be a good popper, and now people all over the world love me. Like, that still probably means a lot to him. So yeah, shout out to him and congrats. And you know, it's easy to, it's not necessarily like an envy or a hate thing, but it's easy to be like, oh yeah, he's got it all figured out, he's dope, like he doesn't need my support or congratulations. Like, they still get nervous, they still, you know, are proud of themselves for stuff. So it's, yeah, I don't know, it's worth highlighting, I think. What else about Juste Debout? They had, is there any other battles? I mean, we'll talk about the UK guys in a minute, but any other battles? Oh, the Chinese kids who battled. Oh my God. They were crazy. You guys got to go watch the battles if you haven't seen them already. I think they were 14 or 13 and 10 years old. They beat Spider and his partner in the first round. Then they beat Stala and Diablo in the second round. Can you imagine beating the twins and then these kids beat you? Like, I'm not saying that because Stala and Diablo did bad, but the kids were so sick. Like, even Diablo, you could see it on his face in the battle. Like, he was just appreciating, like, these guys are fucking dope. And it's like, I'm saying that to highlight how good they were. The people that beat the twins, who have won Juste Debout, lost to these kids who were 14 or 13 and 10. They were sick. Like, I think Icy was with them, so I think he maybe trains them or whatever. But yeah, just crazy, like, mature understanding of dance, musicality, performance through the fucking roof. They just had the crowd like up off their feet. It was insane. Jimmy and Sam beat them in the semis, but like, it was close also. They had to work for it. And I think they knew that as well. They wasn't just like, oh yeah, we can, especially after taking out Spider and his partner and then Diablo and Stala. Like, that's crazy, even just that. Even just getting through prelims, I would have been like, oh, that's sick. But to beat some of the best dancers on the planet is crazy. Yeah, those kids were sick. The crowd loved them. That was like a real nice moment. What else? Who else was dope? Well, I mean, let's talk about the UK guys. So we have to talk about Jev and Rory, who I have now nicknamed the Magician and the Assassin after the reel that I posted about them and we spoke about in the pod. But like, yeah, just so dope that they made it to the finals. That is, and again, if we go back to the beginning of the pod, for people like me or like other people in my generation who saw Juste Debout as like the mountaintop at one point, like that's crazy to think like there's someone from the UK that got to the finals. And it's not to say like even like Joel and Troy got to the semis, and it's like that's so sick. I think they got to the semis. Yeah, like that's so sick, and it's like even that alone is incredible. And like Joel and Troy were so sick in house, and like it's so dope to see them on the stage. Especially like I'm close with Joel somewhat, like more than I speak to Troy. I speak to Joel, so it's like really cool to like see someone that I've had conversations with about dance and like display that and it work and be effective. You know, I'm just really proud of them. But yeah, Jev and Rory are like. Yeah, they just killed it, man. They were so fucking good. And, like, they won their battles fair and square. They got booed in the top 8 when they beat Darren and Willis. Again, it's like one of those things that, like, when you have people in the audience who aren't dancers or aren't as close to the scene, they're not going to understand, and B, they're not going to give a shit about your feelings. It's kind of thing we have to, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not like you're... It's not like real dancers booing, you know, or it might have been, I don't know, but I'm just saying it's like you kind of have to just brush it off. But it was like, I think also because Darren and Willis are like fucking incredible dancers, like really good, but also like charismatic and fun and like get the crowd. And also with a lot of these styles, this is another thing, it's like the judges are looking at it way more deeply than the crowd are. So the crowd are seeing like, oh yeah, they were fun to watch. And then the judges are like analysing it and breaking it down. So when Jeff and Rory won in the top 8 against them two, there was a few, it wasn't crazy. I've seen way worse boos at Juste Debout, and at other battles. But yeah, there was a few boos, but you know, fuck it. Like if you're not, what is it? Like if you're not, I don't know, if you're not, like you're not going to be for everyone, you know, and that means you're succeeding. If you're, yeah, not everyone's going to love what you do. But they got the crowd back. The next round, everyone was cheering for them, so it doesn't mean anything. And then, yeah, got to the finals. Crazy, crazy, crazy shit. They battled Mamson and Hero, who are, like, legends in the house scene. So we'll take that loss. Like, it's like, you know, what can you ask for more at Rory and Jev's stage than to make it to the finals of like against some really crazy competition in the biggest stage one of the biggest stages in the world, and then lose to like two of the legends of the house scene. It's like, yo, it doesn't get much better than that at this point, you know? I mean, of course it'd be great if they would take them out at some point, but listen, we'll get there. There's still time. Coming back for you, Mamson and Hero. I'm speaking on behalf of them. I haven't cleared this with Rory and Jeff. But yeah, so yeah, that was dope. We also had Harry Barnes, friend of the show, Silk Boogie Max, also friend of the show, although he never tells me he loves me. But they did the pop-in. They made it past the first round. It was Silk's first time, Harry's third time being at Juste Debout main stage, and Harry's made it past first round every time. So shout out to you, Dirty Harry. Yeah, they did really good, man. I was really, really, really proud of them. I mean, I'm also biased. I'm trying to be unbiased, but it's like, you know, they're actually like, especially Harry's like one of my best friends, and like Silk, I really like him as well. He's like a good friend of mine. But like, also popping I love popping and hip hop as well. But it's like that's my thing. So just seeing their battles, I was like, I don't know, it felt more like like a family thing. In the same way that, you know, the in the house people will feel that about Jev and Rory. I felt that with Harry and Silk. One thing that, you know, I haven't asked Silk if I can share, but I'm going to share it anyway, sorry bro, is he was saying, you know, after the battle against, they lost to Poppin, C and Ness, and he was saying kind of like, in a way, being on that big stage against them, it like, I won't tell you kind of exactly how he said it or what he said, but like it gave him motivation of like, oh, now that I've stood opposite you, like, it's less scary than I thought it would be. Or he didn't say that, I'm paraphrasing, but like it's less of a thing than I thought it would be. You're just people, and I can smoke you if I want to, you know? Like it gave him that type of feeling in a way. And I think it's really important because, you know, with the rise of YouTube and media and like all of these things, dancers do somewhat in our little ecosystem become like celebrities. And with that, you kind of get this thing of like, oh, they're unbeatable. Oh, like, you know, I could never beat this person, or I could never beat this person. Because why? Because they're a Red Bull dancer, or because they have loads of views, or because they're viral, or because they're well known and I'm not known. But those things don't necessarily mean that that person is better than you, first of all. Also, there's no really such thing as better or worse. It's like, it's, you know, it's an art form at the end of the day. But also, it doesn't mean that in that moment you can't do a better round. We've seen so many times that dancers relax too much, or they chill, and someone like just happens to do a killer round and gets them. And it's like, that's what I love about the battle scene. At any point, anyone can beat anyone, you know. It should be, as much as you can, an unbiased thing. It's just, yo, who had the better round? That's who I'm going to vote for. Of course, there's a reality of like people can be biased, but you know, I think that's really, you know, that feeling that Silk had coming off stage of like, yeah, like, let's go. I can, like, I'm up there, and like seeing yourself on that big stage and being worthy, and not just being on the big stage, like killing it. Like they did really well. They got the crowd, like people liked their dance, and it wasn't, with all due respect to Poppin' C and Ness, who are fan-fucking-tastic, it wasn't a blowout. Like, it was close, and maybe I'm biased, of course, but it was a somewhat, they had to work for it, and that's a cool thing to, you know, see these guys on big stages and then be like, yeah, I made that guy fucking sweat to beat me. So yeah, shout out to them. Ty and Gary also did the hip hop. They went against Missy and Chupi, and they didn't win, but they did really, really good. It was also sick to see them there. It's just there's such nice fucking kind people in my experience, and I'm just really happy to see them on a big stage and kind of, you know, get in their respect. They're also maybe the youngest out of everyone that went. I don't know how old Rory is, but maybe they're the youngest out of all the UK people that were there. So it's like they've got so much time to come back and, like, you know, and get better results. Yeah, it's just like, you know, I taught both of them at UEL, not dance, but so I'm not trying to take any credit. I taught them fucking editing. But yeah, just to like see them go from that and like just grow and become, you know, like fully fledged members of the scene. Also, I remember when the UPG guys started coming to events. I spoke about them on the pod, you know, that I love the young guys, and now they're the generation of the scene, especially in hip hop. Yeah, it's just dope to see them on the big stages. I really love them and what they're doing, and those guys. I love all of the hip hop guys that are killing it in the scene. So what else? Obviously, also shout out Clara. She didn't compete, but she was judging. Nice to see a familiar face up on the judging panel. Obviously, the event was live streamed also. That's another thing to talk about. They, in the past, Juste Debout have not live streamed the event, and even when they did, it was from like the top 8 or the top 4. It wasn't the full event. As far as I know, I didn't watch the live stream. As far as I know, it was live streamed. I can't speak on the quality or how it was, that experience, because I was in the venue. They charged for the live stream, which I've been saying forever, that Juste Debout should do, because I know there's this thing of like, people don't, there's this like way of thinking, which I don't think is wrong. I just don't necessarily agree with it, that like if you have a live stream, people won't come to the event. I don't think that's the case. I think it's like a psychology thing. Like, people, if they're going to go to the event, they'll go to the event. If they are not going to come to the event, they're not going to come, and having a live stream won't change that. They won't say, I won't bother buying a ticket because there's a live stream, or vice versa. There's no live stream, better buy a ticket. I don't think it works like that. And it's like, if the issue is like not wanting to do a live stream, or not being able to afford it, or whatever it might be, I think I, as a consumer, have never had an issue paying for a live stream. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's worth, you know, if I have to pay to get into the venue, charge me 5-10 euros, whatever it is, to watch the live stream. I'm happily, especially if it pays for that or like helps the experience of the dancers, I'm happy to. And if you can make, you know, you get another 1,000 people watching the live stream or more, 5,000, whatever, great. Like, take that money and use it for the event. Like, all good. I'm happy to pay for good stuff. I think they did a thing where you had to comment, stream, and then they sent you the link. I think maybe they could have announced that there was a you had to pay for the live stream. But I guess they were trying to do like a little cute, like a comment, and then you'll get the thing and it feels more personal. I get that. But I personally have no issue with there being a paid live stream. I'm glad there was a live stream. I think it helps engage more people. It's actually, I watched BC1 live stream every fucking year for maybe 10 years, maybe more. And when it was in Paris, I was like, I am going. So it didn't stop me at all from wanting to go. It made me want to go more because I know what was happening. So I think the live stream is a dope idea. What else? The music was... it was up and down for me. I think, like, shout out to the DJs. I mean, like, I respect everybody, like, having their artistic input to any event or anything. And I think that's dope that you do that. I think, I think that this is the thing with music in dance battles. There is a battle, ironically enough, between what does the transmission of these styles look like as we go further and further away from the origin point? And part of that battle is the music. And it's like, do we keep playing newer and newer stuff as we go? Like, let's say popping was created like 70s, 80s, whatever. Like, do we play music from that era forever? Or do we, and it's the same with so many other things, the way we dance, the way we dress, whatever. But this is kind of the cultural thing, I think, is like, do we play music from that era? Do we play that vibe or that genre of music, but it's version now? And it's like legacy music, I guess. Or do we play stuff that's now that we like doing that style to, that's not related to the original thing? Is there a mix some way? Like DJ Renegade used to have I mean, I don't know if he still does it, maybe, but like a formula of like, when it's a 2-round battle, you play one funk song, one like battle banger, and it just ensures that there's a mix. It's like, okay, here's something from the origin, show us that you can relate to that sort of music, show us that you can dance it in a way that is like reminiscent or pays tribute to how it was created, and then do the version now. Cool, like play the both, and it helps the judges, I guess, to see both angles. When you're playing, I don't know, I also think it's like, if you decide to go down the route of like playing only that music, or when you do, even if you're going to choose a song from that era, I think there's also a responsibility for it to be unique. And there is I don't know, I'm not a DJ. We're going to have people on the pod that can talk about this more, but like, I'm not a DJ, but as a dancer, I'm like, okay, I get that this is like a cultural song that we all know and love as part of the popping history, or part of the hip hop history, or part of house history, or whatever. But does that mean I'm not allowed to be bored of it? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's songs that I heard, especially in the popping, that I was like, I'm personally bored of this song. There might be people that loved it and they like dancing to those things. I would like, personally, those early songs, or that early vibe, but like, find the ones that we don't know yet that still have that feeling, or like, give me some unreleased shit, or like, not unreleased, but like uncovered stuff, like, yeah, I don't know. I just, the obvious ones that we've heard for a long time, I'm a bit like, ugh, when I hear them. I heard some mixed reviews about the hip hop songs from people I know, but I really like them. Although you can't take away the bias that I was in the venue. There was literally one point where I was standing, like, behind me was a speaker that was bigger and wider than I was standing up, and it was like the bass was going onto the stage through my body. So that's kind of like, I'm biased when I hear a good song in that high quality, like reverberating through my body, it's hard to not be like caught up in the vibe. And also being in the venue, people screaming, fucking some of the best dancers in the world, like close enough that I could grab them if I wanted to. I'm always going to be a bit more biased, you know. Especially hip hop is like it's the music I listen to, it's the style that I dance the most. I'm going to be biased, but yeah, maybe people were more distant on the live stream, or maybe they were more objective. Two ways to look at it. I love that Tijo DJ'd in the UK, and I was like, oh my God, this guy is fantastic. He killed it. I heard he killed it. He's the house DJ. I heard he killed it at the prelim day, and he killed it, you know, and so I got nothing but good words to say about Tijo. Like he was really sick, man. So, I mean, that's kind of my thoughts. We did some interviews. I got some really interesting, thoughts after the winners won. I mean, for me on a professional level, like, you know, going backstage to try and disturb these people to get quotes from them and stuff was a challenge. Not because they were difficult, but because it was like I have to be bold and stuff, and it's still like I'm still not in my... It's not even in the UK, you know, it's not my scene necessarily, although in a wider world context it is. But I was really happy with the, you know, the stuff that they shared with me. And, I want to thank those guys for taking the time after winning an entire event and being tired to talk to me. And it was really cool. I'll leave some of these interviews in the pod. Okay, what's up, guys? First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell me how does it feel? How are you feeling now?
You already know I'm so happy like right now, and we spend like few days really quick, but like we eat together, we sleep, and then we train hard, and on the mic only like we do it, and today is like we saw the result, so really happy with Nelson, and it's my honor to dance with him, and it's like the story, to do.
And how did the partnership happen? Like, how did you arrange it?
Actually, it's quite crazy because I know him for years now. I think the first time I saw him is when I judged Juste Debout a few years ago. And then we went to Summer Dance Forever last summer. He won. And then I think the week after we went to like a Bataya camp, random circles. And actually I saw him dance in a party. In the middle of girls. And the way he was dancing was like, I know him as a machine, like he do like a lot of moves, but for me what is most important is the groove and the real dance, you know what I'm saying? And I saw that, he's a machine, but the guy is dancing for real, And when I saw it, I was like, so we gotta do something together. It's not just about, and then he just came at home like 4 days ago, and my goal actually was like to show like a real connection, like we did with Majid like a few months ago, like I did with him. It was like not just empty pop and Nelson, but empty pop and Nelson like this, and I think we just trained so hard that we saw straight up the difference between even compared to the other teams, no disrespect, but I would see straight up that they were not ready like we are together, so then I know his thing. I know when he enters in a round, so I was very confident into this.
And you guys have done a lot of like smaller battles, mid battles. This is like big stage.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Like when you dance, do you think differently or it's the same?
I mean, you have to think differently because there's a lot of people, and you're not just dancing for you or for the judges. You're dancing for all this crowd, and also for the routines. I mean, if the context will be different, maybe the routines will be different also. Yes. But we work the routine in order to like I said many times, we add all the moves, all the things we have to do. The people from right there, they have to see it, So for sure, it changed a bit, the dance, and for sure. Juste Debout is a very special event.
Yeah, and can you give, that's a good thing that you brought up, but a message for Juste Debout, it's back, tell me about, how does it make you feel, why it's so important, Juste Debout, tell me about that.
Yeah, for me, it's last time I joined 2019, and after that it's like the pandemic, and this year is like Juste Debout is back, so I'm really exciting and so happy like I then with him and yeah, we did it like the first time like when Juste Debout back. So for me, it's really happy.
Yeah, it's a big thing, you know. I mean, Juste Debout is part of, I think, the part of any urban street dancer, you know, and
The history of like
yeah, and I remember looking at Juste Debout as a kid, you know, and now to be able like, I mean, the first time I won was with Dede, who's actually Vietnamese, and then 15 years later I won again, and for me it's my last one, but I was like very happy to do this and to achieve this goal for me, and I'm really happy that I could do this with him, and yeah, it's a big pleasure, and Juste Debout is Juste Debout, so we had to do it.
Amazing. And actually, I was here in 2010.
Crazy.
I saw you win.
Crazy man. Thank you, man.
Well done. Really pleasure to watch.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, congratulations. How are you guys feeling after the win?
Thank you. We feel great. Of course, happy.
Tired.
Tired, of course. It was a long day, but we did the job. We came to show everybody what locking is about, and we did it tonight.
Straight
to
to the end.
Exactly.
Straight to the end.
And for people that didn't, achieve something like this before, can you tell a little bit like what's the training like for something like this?
Wow.
Intense.
You need to train. Preparing for battle is not like a regular or casual training. It's a very specific training, and you really have to train in this direction, right? So that's what we did. That's how I did all my life. When we train for battling, it's just like we put on the battle mode.
Yes,
And
battle
then-
mode,
yeah.
training, battle. Yeah, focusing on the moment there. Visualization.
Visualization,
You know.
of the stage,
Of the
on
stage,
being
of
on stage.
everything.
Projection, mind projection.
Nice. And you guys have been dancing for a long time. So why is it important for you to still do these type of events?
First of all, because Juste Debout is an institution, right? And in my case, the reason why I'm here is because of him, because he's my student. And when I started teaching him in 2018,
18, yeah.
I promised him that one day we will do a battle together. And the day has come, right? That day is today. So I'm a man of word, and I kept my word.
And it was a nice promise.
And just last thing, can you tell me like maybe a message for Juste Debout, like that you're happy it's back? If you're happy it's
Sure,
back.
keep
and,
going.
what's the importance of Juste Debout?
It's the main event. It's the main worldwide event.
Yeah.
Juste Debout.
The soul of Juste Debout, like I said to Bruce, the organizer, is here in this venue, in Bercy. Bercy is. Last time I came here, it was 12 years ago, and the feeling is just the same. Like that stage is crazy.
That's insane.
The vibe, the crowd, it's something unique.
Yeah.
Something-
Juste Debout is back home.
Let's go, and it stay at home.
And it stays at home.
Vive la France,
Vive
vive la
la
République.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.
First of all, congratulations. Thank you. Tell me how you're feeling after the win.
We are happy, finally.
Yes, we're happy.
Yeah, because our last Juste Debout, we lost in the first round in Germany, so we feel bad about this. And Hiro said we have to do it again.
Yeah.
I was not agree, but he pushed me, and finally we did it, and we're so happy.
Yes.
And today is his birthday, so
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And how did the partnership first happen between you?
wow.
Because we've been knowing each other and we're battling so many times.
So many times.
But it's always like we get the same experience. Then one day like we have to exchange, as a duo.
As a duo, yes.
So then when we decided, when we joined Juste Debout, which year was it?
2014.
2014, yeah. And then we get to the final, but we lost.
Yeah.
Yes.
Against Yuxon and Malcolm. Yeah.
Okay.
Family.
Yeah. So one day,
Yeah, one day,
we wanna be winning.
And maybe can you tell me something that you like about each other's dance?
Oh, wow.
I can say his footwork is most like creative, in the world, because he and the quality of the move, and people already know, and he gave so many influence to the people, so that's why people doing all the tricks, but he's the original one. So I really respect to create all this, and still, from since day one, and he's keep creating. So that's hard, that's difficult. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And for me, it's like, for me, it's a high level of house dance. His footwork, he can push the basic move to the high level. I never see this in my life. Him and Babson. So inspire me a lot, and that's why I push my dance to the high level, because I saw him. And the first time I saw him, it was in '99 on stage. He danced with Ikanji, and I said, "Oh, so dope." Really.
Thank you. Yes.
And is there something that you wanted to represent with house dance today? Like, was there something that you wanted to push with house dance? Something that's important for you guys?
I mean, it's about music, but it's also, this is a battle, so we have to perform also. So we need to have something special. Then I believe that like we have individually something special. We can just push this and just try to showing. Even like the battle is like one of the perspective of street dance, which is nice. We also we have to prove, because we're in the game so long years, and still we're here, and we to keep doing. This is what we want to show.
Yeah,
Yes.
ready. Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, a message for Juste Debout, like you're happy it's back, and maybe why Juste Debout is so important.
Why Juste Debout is so important? Because it's for me it's like an international battle. So we can meet for example, about house dancer, we can meet whole house dancer from all over the world. So it's like we can make a good connection about people. Look, we are together now, So for me it's like we can dance against, but one day we can dance together, So for me, this is the message.
This is the world, world union. Yeah, the Juste Debout makes world union. Even this is a battle, but it's also we share so many things.
Oh yeah.
So that's why we need things like this, even for the future, even for young generations. Now we enjoy it, and we have to pass the baton to the new generation.
Yes.
So that's why this one should be keep going.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Cool. The hip hop winners. Congratulations, first of all.
Yeah,
How are you
thank
feeling
you.
after the win?
So great, the achievement is because people don't know, but it was a 20th anniversary of battling this year. So it's been 20 years that we're battling. First time we went to Juste Debout was 2007. So we went to semi-finals 6 times. It's the first time that we won.
So first time in the finals too?
Yeah, first time in final, first time we won. So it's like an achievement, because when we saw the Juste Debout 2003 and 4, we really want to be a dancer and to dance and to be at that stage. So for us, it's it's the only one battle was with us in the beginning and still with us now. So for us, it's a great honor to win that time. But we already won, because we say if we pass and we're still there, and people can recognize our style still with so many years, it's a lot. But, to win is more than this.
And why is it important for you guys, after so many years, to still be doing the battles?
I think because we love this particular movement, but also the longevity is something that is undeniable. We say every time, to be good one round or one battle is okay, but to be there for so many years is not easy. And we never thought that we're gonna stay that long, Where we did the queue to dance, to watch, and now we just won. It's something really nice for our career, both of us. Yeah.
And do you have a strategy or a game plan going into this, or how does it work?
Yeah, we have a game plan.
Can you share?
I can share it. So the game plan is to be true to yourself and don't do routine. Yeah, because like I said, this battle is about your dance more than a routine, and it's a freestyle battle, 2 versus 2. So every time we try to do a good routine, but we say nah. We're gonna want to enjoy our full minute. So it was really nice. Like at the end, it was so funny because I don't even dance the whole minute, and they say, you don't dance 1 minute. I do whatever I want. I don't care, man. I just enjoy myself.
Amazing. And the what did you think of the moment when the young one did your thing?
Yeah, no, because it's funny because I gave them classes in China. This is my brother. This guy is my brother. But no, because I teach them in China. In China, you know, they don't have access to all of the footage. So when they watch a battle, they watch it in repeat. So I have dinner with them. They show me these videos. They say they love this video. So for them to dance against me and to do this shout out is like a way to say like I respect you, I love Juste. So I don't take it in a bad way, but it was so funny because it works.
Yeah.
You know, it works. Everybody do it again. I was like, wow. Now I felt like Doya.
And why is it important for you guys to do together? You have a lot of good people in Yudat. Why you guys?
Because we are brothers. We were from the same mother, and I don't know. I think like because we don't do that much better together. And this one is like kind of like a journey with so many years, and it's like a celebration of us. But I think now if I come back, for sure it's going to be with other members of Yudat because we have so many great talents. And I would love also to, maybe if I come back, it's going to be with someone else.
Nice. And just last thing, just a message about Juste Debout, like how do you feel about it being back and why Juste Debout is so important for the culture?
Yeah, Juste Debout is so important for the culture because it's a pioneer of what we do. So we have to respect that. So to do better for years and years, it's not about the venue, it's about the message, what is it, you know. So that's why it touched so many people because it touched so many generations. So that's why it's nice that this battle still exists. And that's why we're here also, because I don't do so much battle. I don't do that much, but this one is special because it was there like when I started, and it's still there today, and it's the only one like this.
Cool. Perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, really happy to see that. Killed it.
Yeah.
How are you, the man of the hour? How are you feeling?
How are you, bro? I'm dead. Look at my face. I watch on my application. I did 15 kilometers today, walking. It's okay. I'm so happy, you know. So happy because it's been a challenge for me for everything. I didn't know if the people would come back. I didn't know if I would have the resources to do it. It was really hard this year. But thanks God we made it. And I'm so happy for another thing. The dance community, I could see that they are with me also. And with my project, with my event. And that means a lot. Because the new generation is here and the older generation is here. So even you guys, you're here. You know, the media team, everybody were great. So thank you so much.
Amazing. And what's the plan for the future?
For the future, more countries, because this year we had only 8 countries in the tour. We have more countries already planned. And I just talked to the boss of Bercy. We have to fix the dates. Yeah, it's starting again, and you know the opening of the new school, Juste Debout school, many things. Juste Debout cruise too, many things.
And last one, what is the most important thing? Like, what does Juste Debout bring to the scene? What does it make different?
You guys. I mean, I don't say that because I'm in front of the camera, but you know, to see everybody talking together, and to the generations again, the sharing, the transmission. This is the most important. Win or lose, again, I say it. But the fact that everybody's together, it's crazy good.
Amazing. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And yeah, just, I wanted to shout out Juste Debout and Bruce. I think, Bruce is Bruce. I really like him, but I know there's some mixed thoughts on like things that he's said or whatever, and people, have disputes with him, and, that's up to him to handle. I'm not, gonna get in between that. But with this is like with anyone, there's anything with me, with the capsule, there's people that have things to say or have issues constantly. So I can only imagine what Bruce has to deal with. How he chooses to deal with things is up to him, and you can talk to him about that. But I just think, no matter what, first of all, when people are nice to me, I can't, like, I'm going to judge you off my experience with you. Bruce has been nothing but lovely to me since I met him in Montreal. He took time out of his day to do the pod with me. He had me at Juste Debout. He's been nice to me outside of that. So, you know, I personally, in my experience, don't have anything bad to say about him. I also think on a professional level, Juste Debout, I am the first to complain about events. I don't really have anything to complain about in the way Juste Debout is run. Being there on the day and also being there in 2010, it's prompt. It runs to time pretty much. It doesn't feel like bloated. There's no random breaks for no reason. They had an area up at the top, which is really cool, and they didn't have to do this, but an area up at the top where there's other DJs playing outside. So if you want to, even in the breaks or while the battles are going on, if you want to go there and cypher and get down, and people were, it was like really packed. You can. So that was cool that they added that, because actually it takes you out of the arena when stuff is happening. But they were like, you know, this is kind of part of what makes our events cool. So they created that. And I think, yeah, it's like you never know. And I've spoken to Bruce a very tiny bit about Juste Debout, and he spoke about it on the pod as well. But no matter how big something is or how successful you think someone is, you don't know how hard things are behind the scenes. I have had a minute taste of that with the Capsule, and nothing compared to the size of Juste Debout or the longevity of Juste Debout or the pressure that Bruce is under. I struggle sometimes with the Capsule already, and it's my personal journey that I'm having to like deal with, of like how difficult it is to do this, and to even the little pressure that's been put on my shoulders is very difficult sometimes. The things I have to deal with, the responsibility I bear for anything that anyone associated with the Capsule does or says, or any decision we make of something to post, it all comes on me. I can only imagine what that's like with something the size of Juste Debout. So first of all, I just wanted to say, you know, it's really an achievement. I don't know what people think, but no matter how easy you think it is to run something like that, it's not. And it's bigger stuff and bigger money doesn't necessarily mean easier. It's like the more money that goes into something, the more logistics there are, the more complications, the higher the pressure. You're not talking about, you know, balancing budgets of like 100 quid, 500 quid. Oh, do we pay the judges 200 or 250? It's like we're talking about like thousands in the budget, and it's like if that goes wrong, or if this thing doesn't happen, all of this goes wrong and the whole thing collapses. And it's a lot. And it's not only is it a lot when you're a team, you're an events team, but to be the face of Juste Debout. I know he has Juste Debout have a team, trust me, but like to be the face of it is not easy. And I think, you know, I will always be honest to the best of my ability. I'm only human, and sometimes I'll be biased by my personal relationships without wanting to be. I'll always be as honest as I can. And if there's something, and I've spoken about Juste Debout in the past, and just because I was there and just because I'll be back, it doesn't mean that if there's something that's fucked up or goes wrong, and listen, Bruce, if you listen, or whoever that wants to have me at their events, if you don't want me because I'm going to tell the truth, I don't want to be there. Right. And Bruce has said nothing, and Shao has said nothing that made me think that that's the case. If there's something I have an issue with or that I think is wrong or fucked up, my loyalty is always to the dance scene first and foremost. Secondary will be people. If it's a friend of mine that puts on an event and I think it's fucked up, if Harry, I love you. If you put on an event that's fucked up, I'm going to talk about it, and I might talk to you first, but you know, I will always try and be honest. And I think, like, I think that doesn't mean that we can't have compassion for someone like Bruce. I think, you know, call it out if there's an issue. Call it out if there's something you don't like. That's also part of his responsibility. That's his burden to bear, is that you put something out into the public. I say this with theatre all the time. You put something out to the public, you have to accept that they're allowed to have their opinions on it, and they're allowed to critique it. They're allowed to say what they feel. However, I think, especially I'm talking to more the dancers and stuff, we can also have compassion for how difficult it is and how much of an achievement it is for this thing to exist and how much it's benefited so many people. Like, there's, you know, there's so many people that have had their lives changed by Juste Debout. There's so many people that have been inspired. It's one of a few things that inspired me. But, you know, like, I talk about someone like Jadawi, who I'm lucky enough to call a friend now, but he was someone who inspired me a lot at the beginning, you know, in the way he danced, the way he was. It made me be like, yeah, I want to do this dance shit. This battle stuff is cool. And I saw him at Juste Debout. So without that platform, I wouldn't have seen him, you know. There's other battles and there's other things. I mean, you know, I love this dance, All-Star Game. If you're listening, probably not. Please come back, because that's another thing that's inspired me over the years a lot. But yeah, it's just like, I think I'm always the one to critique and break things down. But if you listen to the pod every week, you'll know I'm not scared to be positive and to give praise and give flowers where I think it's important. And I think critique the events. If Juste Debout isn't your thing, I get it. If it's too big and you like the smaller intimate things, I get it. If, you know, you're a younger generation and you don't feel like you need to love this battle just because everyone else does, cool, let it earn your respect. If you know, if Juste Debout's gone away for 5 years and you want it to, you know, earn your respect back, all good. But at the same time, let's give a little bit of recognition, if we can, to how difficult it is, how much of an achievement it is, how big of a thing this is, and how many people are affected by it, and how good of a, remember, like, also, if you look, say what you want about the winners, say what you want about the judges, say what you want about Bruce, the people on that stage are fucking dope. It's a huge audience, maybe 10,000 whatever people there. There's no fucking TikTokers there. There's no like people that we're like, who the fuck is this? Just because they have a big name. Everybody there is a legit battler. All the judges are legit. We can debate that on a, you know, year by year. We can say, oh, I don't like this judge as much as this judge. But we all could agree, I think, mostly if you judge Juste Debout, you're pretty legit. And they haven't really had any massive flops over the years, I don't think. The people that have won are always fucking good, and they always beat good people. There's never been a dud year where it's like, oh yeah, they won, but everyone they beat was shit. It's like, it's a pretty legit battle that's big, and there's not a lot that are that. There's legit battles that are small, and there's dance diluted events that are big. But yeah, I think it's an achievement what Bruce and the team at Juste Debout have built. So as much as I will always call it out if there's an issue or a critique, I will also just recognize at least that part. So yeah, shout out to you guys for what you did. We're happy to have Juste Debout back, or I am, and I know a lot of people that are happy to have Juste Debout back. I look forward to seeing the next 5, 10, 15 years of what happens with Juste Debout. I hope it stays regular. I hope the coverage has been, you know, enough to keep it going. I hope the conversations are you know, keeping the interest. I hope everything went well with the behind the scenes stuff and the sponsors and the money and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know that I have any other, you know, thank you to the dancers for fucking the inspiration. It made me want to get back to training. I have no time or energy, but I want to get back to training just because I'm like, oh, this is cool. Especially seeing like some of the older dancers. That's another thing I was going to talk about, but we can talk about that another time. But like the age was a lot, like it was like a lot of like my age people on the stage, and I was like, shit, do I suck? But yeah, what else? Also, yeah, again, big shout out to Little Shao, Admir, and the team, the media team, for having me. Everyone was super hospitable, super nice. Shout out to all the winners. You guys are all sick, deserved it. Shout out to MT for his Red Bull signing. Yeah, man, that's it, I think. Tell me if you've enjoyed this ep and this pod vlog format. Please tell me any thoughts you have on Juste Debout as a thing. Tell me any thoughts on the battles, etc., etc. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the review, the thoughts I had from the weekend. I'll definitely be back. I after having gone in 2010, I was not sure if I would want to go back in that way. I was like, I don't know. But like being a bit older now and kind of understanding more the landscape of the scene, I think it does hold a very important place, and I will be back. So yeah, thanks to you guys for listening, because I love you all, my loyal listeners. We will be back next week. If you're new here, subscribe to the Capsule. If you're not new here, keep tuning in. And yeah, peace guys.